So this is the basic part, the first part of the experiment. And that has been obviously given here. Now, the interesting thing is that before starting this experiment, we should have an idea about the values of the resistances, right? So the offline values, that is before starting on the experiment, we should measure the values of the experiments, resistances, sorry. So this is a value for the Rn1. So you see this is the connection. So it's 1.9 something. You can take note of these resistances, okay? This is for Rn1, 1.9 ohms. This is Rn2, 1.3 ohms. This is offline, huh? The lamps are off now. Rn2. This is the Rn3, the diode circuit. It's 24.6. The R4 is a linear resistance. It should keep to this value, 13.1. This is R5, 6.2 ohms. R5. And this is R6, 10.8 ohms. Okay. I'll again repeat these things. Rn1, nonlinear, first nonlinear one, 1.9 ohms. Rn2, 1.3 ohms. Rn3, 24.6 ohms. Linear resistances, R4, 13.1. R5, 6.2. And R6, 10.8. Okay, so you'll get an overall idea of this different resistances. Now, once this is done, let us see how we can obtain the VI characteristics. It's a very simple procedure. I think you all know how to obtain a VI characteristics of a resistance. It's a very simple procedure. We'll follow that simple procedure itself. There is no complications over here. Simply we'll connect. Let me look at the circuit over here. This, oh, sorry, let's move forward a bit. Rather, I will not show it here. It's a very simple thing. I will just draw it. So given a voltage source, here we're using AC voltage source. We just connect the resistance. We'll measure the current and the voltage, right? This is a very unknown resistance or the resistance that we want to have the VI characteristics of. So one thing we should keep in mind, since we're varying the voltage and measuring the current, your VI characteristics should have this axis. Voltage is an independent variable. It should be in the horizontal axis, and current should be in the vertical axis. And this is, since this is my first interaction with you, just keep in mind you have this common mistake of marking this axis as x-axis and this as a y-axis. In normal practice, there is no x-axis, no y-axis. Up to +2, it's fine. But when you're drawing a graph or any VI characteristics or anything, just consider this to be horizontal axis and this is a vertical axis, right? If you keep putting on x and y, then you have to define what is x, what is y. Other than algebra, there is no existence of x and y. So you can either write voltage axis, current axis, or horizontal axis and vertical axis, right? Now for a linear resistance, obviously, you can expect the VI characteristics to be a straight line. Depending on the resistance, the slopes will change. But for nonlinear resistances, the characteristics may be different. For one set of nonlinear resistances, the characteristics will be something like this. For another set of nonlinear resistances, the characteristics will be something like this. Okay. So this will be open question for all of you. You have to find out an example of a circuit or element, a nonlinear resistance element whose behavior is something like this blue one. Another example where the resistance will change like this green one. Can anyone tell me right now any example of these two? The blue one is something, it is like this path,
Sir, diode.
right? Exactly. And the green one,
Carbon.
hmm? No, any filament lamp will work in this function. Not any filament lamp, tungsten filament lamp. If you go for carbon filament lamp, the characteristics will be something different. Okay. Another open question that I'll throw is whether this is the only configuration of connecting voltmeter and ammeter, or is there any other configuration? I'm just measuring current and I'm
Yes,
measuring
there
voltage.
is another convention.
Hmm.
We can connect the voltmeter across the combination of R and A also.
Right. I'm just drawing that, right? This one you're talking about,
Yes.
right? This is another configuration. So my open question will be again, which configuration to use at under which circumstances? Since there are two options, there will obviously be two situations where you have to use either this one or this one, right? Since this in this lab session we are not having anything practical, so what you will expect that you should be able to go through the details of this different integrities of this experiment, and you can have your understanding. Since you are not being able to physically test the experiment, you can at least have the theoretical background more or less cleared up. Okay, so these questions I will expect a report or something like this, or during the viva I will ask these questions if possible individually. Okay, and we'll ask for the explanation, right? I'm already leaking out the questions of the viva, right? So in this way, you can calculate the VI characteristics of Rn1, Rn2, right? R4, R5, R6. I have already taken a set of data. I'll just show you. So this is for the VI characteristics of Rn1. Here you can see this is input voltage 0.5, and this is the current to the element 0.25. And this is something voltage. This voltage is measured across the nonlinear resistance. You can see there is a discrepancy over there. Okay, you can take a screenshot of this, and then what we will do, we will increase the input voltage to 1 volt, and by this way we'll keep on taking note of the current values. Okay, 2 volts, 4 volts, 6 volts, 8 volts. I have a table prepared for this. Okay, 10 volts. There are two values near 10 volt. See, this is 9.99. If you look at the values, it's 1.32 and 7.89, right? Slightly after a few moments, it has gone to 10 volt, but the value has, this value has changed. You will see 7.89 is now become 7.81. Just because this luminance of the lamp, if you keep on this lamp turned on, the resistance will change. So you would not expect a constant voltage across its elements because the current is continuously flowing. So there will be fluctuations in the voltage drop across this lamp, right? So this phenomena will be used in a very interesting fashion later in the experiment. So by this way, you can prepare a set of data like this. For different set of input voltages These are the current through RN1 at different input voltages. This set of data is a slightly different set of data as compared to the experimental one, because this is a running experiment that the data I am giving, and that one is a very distinct experiment. So this is for RN1 only. This is the VI data for RN2, this column. This is for RN3. They're independently taken. Okay. And we have omitted R4, R5, R6. Since there are linear resistances, there is no need to go for these VI characteristics. We assume academically that they behave in a linear fashion. Now, in the next part, what we will do, we will consider the combinations of these linear and nonlinear resistances. That is, both of them, RN1 and RN2, are connected in parallel. So this will be the set of data. When RN1 is connected in series with R4, this will be the set of data. When RN3 will be connected in series with R5, this will be the set of data. So these are the three set of experimental data or six set of experimental data that we have obtained. Obviously, since there are three nonlinear and three linear resistances, there will be plenty of combinations and permutations. But we will be considering only three set of data, and the corresponding VI characteristics will be something like this. Obviously, this is a curve obtained from Excel sheet, so we may not expect a very good one. This one is more or less okay, fine. It's straightening down or flattening down. This one, if you get the data, you should go for a mean curve, okay, keeping the nature in mind. And if you go for RN3, see, this is a diode bridge, so it's typically having that particular nature, right? Now, if you go for the combinations thereof, RN1 parallel RN2, this is nothing but a concatenation of these two. First, yeah. This RN1, RN2, when they are connected in parallel, you'll get things like this. Now, RN1 connected in series with a linear resistance, you'll get a curve like this. RN3, this one, connected in series with a linear resistance, you'll get a curve like this. Now, at this point, I think some of you have a basic idea about obtaining the this combination of RN1, RN2 in series parallel via graphical method. Do you have any idea? At least, I think B section people may have an idea because they have taken a class. Has it been taught in the class? Anyone from B section? Okay, since there is no reply, what I'll do, I'll just briefly explain one thing. Sorry. Suppose we have voltage here, current in this axis, and we have two resistances, R1, yeah, it's a linear resistances, R2. These are the two VI characteristics of R1 and R2. Now, if I connect, in first case, R1 parallel R2, say R equivalent 1. So if I want to draw the VI characteristics of R equivalent 1, how can I draw that? See, when they are connected in parallel, the voltage across each of the resistances will always remain same, and that will be the applied voltage. So what you can do, you can simply obtain, draw some vertical lines at specific voltage points. And this will give you, this is the current through R1 and this is the current through R2. So when they are connected in parallel, the total current in the circuit will be this plus this. So if we extend this, so this will be a point. Again, the voltage, applied voltage is here. Then current will be, total current will be this plus this. So it will be something like this. Again, this will be this plus this. So total current will be something like this. So if we now connect this, we'll get R1 parallel R2. Understood? Similarly, when you consider R1 plus R2, that is the connected in series, then obviously current through the resistances would be same. So at different points, if you draw the current lines, but the voltage across the elements will be summation of this voltage, that is the voltage across R1. So it should be extended. I may not be able to reach it. So this, for this input, say I1. So the total voltage drop across R1 series R2 will be voltage drop across R1 plus voltage drop across R2. So it will go like something out here. For this length plus this length, so it will come something right here. So ultimately, this will be your R1 plus R2. Okay. So in this way, given the VI characteristics of R1 and R2, you can obtain both series and parallel combination of these resistances. Keeping this thing in mind, what you will do, given this data, given this set of data, Rn1, Rn2, Rn3, and you already know the values of R4, R5, and R6, so we can obtain graphically the different combinations thereof. Rn1, Rn2 parallel, you can obtain graphically, and then compare that with this experimental result. This is the experimental result. Similarly, Rn1 plus R4 you can obtain graphically and compare that with this experimental result. So there will be plenty of combinations that you can try. Since we only have 3 set of combinations, we can just check for the combinations using experimental value and the theoretical values. Okay, theoretical value means this plus a constant R4 line, right? So this will be a part of your report or your preparation, right? You have to obtain the experimental characteristics experimentally and validate that with graphical method, right? So this concludes the first part of your experiment, where we'll be obtaining the VI characteristics of individual elements, nonlinear elements, and then we'll be obtaining the VI characteristics of combinations thereof, at least 3 combinations thereof, and that has to be validated using a graphical approach since we have the data already. Now, once that is done, your next objective will be, sorry, obtain a bridge circuit like this. Here you can see this is a nonlinear resistance Rn1, and opposite to that is another nonlinear one, Rn2. And this R4 and R5 will assume to have a constant value, and that remains constant throughout the range of operation. Now, what we will do, we'll apply an input voltage over here, and we'll measure the output voltage. Now, if we just recall the values of Rn1, Rn2, R4, and R5 that you have taken a note of, you will see that this is never a balanced one. So you will have some definite value of output appearing over here as soon as we apply some voltage at the input. So what we'll do, we'll apply a particular voltage at the input and we'll keep on increasing that voltage and we'll observe how the output is changing. Now, given this value of Rn1, Rn2, R4 and R5, can you comment on how the values would change? Any anticipation? Whether it will be increasing with increasing input or the output will decrease with increasing input. Any idea? Anyone? Are you there? If I do not get any response from your side, how can I continue? How can you tell that? Hmm? Hmm? But you have to keep in mind that initially, when in operating condition, normal operating condition, before getting heated up, Rn1 will initially behave in a linear fashion. That means its resistance will be more or less same as offline resistance. So there's very little possibility of obtaining anything. See, there will be amount of voltage appearing in the output. There should not be zero. This is not a balanced one, right? So what will happen? No, it will not decrease. Actually, it will increase. So let's see that what will happen. I'll try to explain it very slowly. So this is the bridge configuration, right? Sorry. So this is the bridge configuration. It's very difficult to observe the connections. Anyway, you assume that connection is properly there. This is the input voltage, this one, and this is the output voltage, right? See, I have not applied any input voltage, it's very small value. Sorry. Now I'll just start the video. See, I'm just increasing the input voltage and output voltage is continuously increasing. 0.59, 0.35, 0.73, 0.45. Okay. See, the lamps are yet not illuminated. They are still turned off, or rather, they are still cold. 0.93, 0.57. There's still the output voltage is growing with increasing input voltage. One 1.16 and still growing 0.68. 1.55, 0.99 still is increasing. Just concentrate on the lamps. 1.91, 1.21 is fine. 2.66, 1.67. The lamps are still not glowing. Still, input voltage is increasing. Correspondingly, the output voltage is also increasing. For pointing the input, the output voltage is increasing again. 2.88, lamps are still off. Input is 5.7. I think I've missed the point. Now, have you seen that the voltage is now coming down? If I play the animation completely, you'll see 7.24 and 2.67. As soon as the lamps start glowing, it is now falling down, the output voltage. That is, initially it was diverging, the bridge was diverging. Now, as soon as the lamp starts glowing, the I-square RT loss has increased. And now, you see the output voltage continuously decreasing with increasing input voltage. It's now 10.787 is the input, and output is come down to 1.50. 11.5, still the output voltage is going down. That is, the bridge is nearing somewhat balanced condition. Let us see. It is the 13th input. Output is still decreasing. Still decreasing. Zero 0.08, almost it has come to a null position or a balanced position, right? So starting from a very wide diverge condition, just because of this nonlinear behavior of these two lamps, as soon as it starts growing, the resistances starts changing, and since they're at opposite sides of a bridge, they'll counteract each other, and ultimately at a particular input voltage after a considerable amount of time will obtain a balanced condition of the bridge. It is 17.30 is input voltage under balanced condition. The lamps are in full glow, and output voltage is 0.04 approximately. So this is the beauty or phenomena associated with these nonlinear resistances that in effect balances a bridge that initially seemed very difficult to balance because initially it was diverging. The output voltage was growing. Now, as soon as they come into the nonlinear region, these resistances, they tend to bring the output voltage down, and ultimately it balances the bridge. Right? This is the final part of the experiment where we obtain the balancing of a unbalanced bridge using some nonlinear resistances. So I'll just play the animation. I'll not interrupt it. Just not animation, video. Sorry. Just observe it carefully. What is happening? I'm increasing the input voltage. The output voltage is diverging. Okay, that is bridge is nowhere near balancing. Right? The lamps are still off. Now, as soon as the lamp starts glowing, the output voltage is now falling down, right? That is, they are now trending towards the convergence. The bridge is nearing the balance condition. Initially, it may not seem that, but ultimately you see that it will get balanced. The input voltage at 17.30, we get the balanced condition, okay, of the bridge. The output voltage has come down near about 0 volts. So this concludes our experiment. So see, it is a very simple experiment where we study the VI characteristics of nonlinear resistance and we apply the basic knowledge of this VI characteristics of nonlinear resistance to obtain the VI characteristics of the combination of nonlinear resistances among them and among some linear resistances. Combination means series connection, parallel connection. So we can obtain the experimental values of series parallel combination of this linear and nonlinear resistances. Then we can validate the data by using graphical techniques. So this is the first study. In the next part, we use the nonlinear phenomena in these nonlinear resistances, basically it is lamps, to obtain a balance condition in a bridge where initially it seems that the bridge is way out of balance. But due to this nonlinear resistance phenomena, it ultimately achieves a balanced or null condition, right? So this is the overall objective of this experiment. Okay, so the thing that will ask you to explain, I'll not explain it since there is nothing to do from your side. I'll leave it to you. So you have to put your own explanation to describe this ultimate phenomena, the last phenomena, that is the balancing phenomena. Okay, so you can obviously discuss among yourself and figure out a statement that will describe this balancing phenomena. Okay, if possible, you can substantiate that with proper mathematical formula or mathematical results or graphical results. Understood? And that will be another open question for your Viva question, lab Viva question, right? Okay, so this concludes our.
স্যার আমরা
Huh?
কি এইটা বলতে পারি যে আমরা যত ইনপুট দিয়ে মানে অ্যাকচুয়ালি ইনপুট দিয়ে মানে ভোল্টেজ আমরা বাড়াচ্ছি মানে পাওয়ার সাপ্লাইটা বাড়াচ্ছি, তো একটা টাইম পরে যে পাওয়ারটা আমার আউটপুটে একটা সার্টেন পাওয়ার পাচ্ছিলাম, বাট মানে ভোল্টেজ পাচ্ছিলাম, বাট একটা টাইম পরে মোস্ট অফ দ্য পাওয়ার যেটা আমরা ডেলিভার করছি সেটা ওই হিট লস হিসেবে লস হয়ে যাচ্ছে, অ্যান্ড মানে আরো বেশি বাল্বটা যেটা ল্যাম্পটা আছে সেটা গ্লো করছে, সেই জন্যই আমার আস্তে আস্তে আউটপুট পাওয়ার কমে যাচ্ছে, বাট
না,
বাল্বের যে এটা
আমাকে
কি?
আউটপুটে একটা ভোল্টমিটার দিয়ে রেখেছি, আউটপুটে তো কোনো পাওয়ার তুমি ড্র করছো না, তুমি সেটা ভোল্টমিটার দিয়ে ভোল্টেজটা মাপছো। আউটপুটে তো ভোল্টমিটার মানে ধরে নিচ্ছে দের ইজ থিওরিটিক্যালি ওপেন সার্কিট, তাই না? সেখানে তুমি কোনো পাওয়ার তো ড্র করছো না। তোমাকে যেটা করতে হবে, যেটা আমি দেখানো সম্ভব হলো না, অ্যাকচুয়ালি দ্য থিং ইজ দ্যাট ইন দিস এক্সপেরিমেন্ট at balance condition, if you measure the voltage across these four elements, okay, you will see that the voltage drop across these cross elements balance each other. That's why the output voltage ideally becomes zero, just like a balancing a bridge, any bridge, four-arm bridge, right? Since I was doing this experiment alone, so it was not possible for me to connect or obtain these all four voltages. But you can take my word that under balance condition, the opposite branches will cancel out its potential, each other's potential. So ultimately, it will be a potentially null bridge. Okay, so effectively across those two output terminals, there will be no potential drop because all the potential drops are being cancelled out or balanced by the four arms of the bridge. Okay, so it's all related to the potential drop across the four arms of the bridge. When it was started initially, if you look at the values of R1, Rn1, Rn2, R5, R4, they are wide apart. Okay, so initially whatever value you're giving an input voltage, as soon as you're giving an input voltage, since this is an unbalanced one, there will be potential drop across the output terminals. But at proper luminance, the Rn1 and Rn2 values will change, and they'll come to a particular value. If you go from that graphical plot of Rn1, Rn2, that actually matches the value of R4 and R5, which are actually constant, right? So that's why at a particular voltage level, at a particular current, you obtain the perfect balance of this potential drop across these four elements. Okay, this is roughly the idea. Okay, but you have to prove that using your graphical data and some of your explanation ideas, right? I'll just give you the hint. That is the hint I can give you. The potential drop across the four elements will actually balance each other. That is why there will be no potential drop appearing across the output terminals. Okay. So this is basically the phenomenon, and why this is happening, how this is happening. That is my open question to you for your bios.
Sir,
Now, if you
when
come
this
back,
Viva will take place?
that I think that will be intimidated. Even if it is not taken place, I might ask you to submit a report or submit something. Okay,
Okay,
because I
sir.
have to evaluate it.
Yes.
There would be evaluation process followed by this laboratory classes. Okay. Any other
Okay,
question
sir.
regarding this?
No, sir.
Any other questions? Okay, regarding the attendance, since plenty of you have already left the meeting, what you can do, whoever is there, you just write down your name and roll number in the chat box. Okay. Or you can simply raise your hand. You're all using mobile phones? You're all using mobile phones? Okay, then I have to stop attending, but it will not come in a single screenshot. Okay, okay, I'll see it. Okay, I'll send it. Okay. Okay, those who have given you attendances, I have taken the screenshot, may leave. Okay. Okay. And I shall send you this Excel sheet containing the data. Okay, and I will send you the video links. Okay, via Drive, so that you can later on take a look at those.